Welcome back to the Form Manager training playlist. In the last video, we learned about the markup elements. And in this video, we'll cover how form settings work. As we'll notice, there are a lot of different options under the Settings tab. However, like with form elements, most of them are very niche. There's one useful option in each of these settings though, so we'll be going over those specifically. For the others, we won't likely need to make any changes to them, so we won't be going over them in this video. Under General, our useful option is the web URL alias, which is how we change our form's URL. And here, we can type in whatever we want the information to be after the main part of the URL. And we can do that by just typing / followed by whatever we're interested in having. So for this example, we can do /undergrad /apply. And now when we hit save here and go over to the live form and refresh, we can see that the URL now says /undergrad /apply. Now for the next tab, we're going to go over to form. The field that we'll check out next in the Form tab is Form Status. In the Form General Settings area, we'll see three options for the form status: Open, Closed, and Scheduled. If we're currently accepting submissions for our web form, we want to have the Open option picked. And if we're not currently accepting submissions, then we want to have the Closed option picked instead. If we need to automatically set when our web form opens and closes, we'd choose the Scheduled option, and then make any adjustments here as needed. We'll skip over the Submissions tab for now, since we'll cover that more in the next video. So now we'll go over to the Confirmation tab. The Confirmation section is where we can add a message after the user submits a form. Scrolling down, we can find two important fields here: Confirmation Title and Confirmation Message. For example, we could just make the title say Received. And then we can add a short message to the confirmation message so that users know that they successfully submitted the form. So here we'll type, "Thank you, we've received your submission." So we'll go ahead and hit the Save button for now. Next, let's check out the Emails and Handlers section. The Emails and Handlers section allows us to add automatic emails that go out after a user submits a form. We'll go ahead and click the Add Email button, which will bring up a bar on the side. And we'll notice that there's a title option. The reason that we have a title option for this is because we can add multiple emails to the Emails Handler section. So this lets us choose who the email is going to go out to. For example, we'll enter Email to Site Admins. This makes sure that this title describes who it's being sent to, and it makes things a lot easier to organize. Next, we have to decide where this email will go. Let's scroll down to the Send To section. By default, we'll see that the To Email section says *Site Mail. This is our organization's email address. However, there are a couple different options that we could use here to serve different purposes. So let's say, for example, somebody has submitted a form and we want to send them a confirmation email, so they're aware that their form was submitted properly. If we have an element within our web form itself that has an email field, then we can do this. The form that we are using right now has an email field called the OSU email element. If we select that, it will default to the email that the user entered when they submitted their form. This way, they'll get a confirmation email once this is set up. Another option might be to have a custom email address that isn't associated with the organization. We can go to Custom To Email Address and enter the email address here to send it to that outside email. Next is the Send From section. Now, we don't want to change any information on the Send From section. That's because our sites aren't built to send from anywhere else other than the organizational email address. So please don't change this, otherwise your form will break. Finally, we'll scroll down to the Message section. By default, it brings in the date and the questions and answers from everything on the form. However, if we wanted to change this and make something that was a little unique, we can do this by going to the Body drop-down and selecting Custom Body. For this, we'll leave everything as it is and hit Save at the bottom of the page. The final tab is the Access tab, which controls who can review the results of a form. If a viewer or user has the form viewer role, we can add them to this interface. All we need to do is scroll down to the bottom, click on the View Any Submissions tab, and then start typing a name in this user's field. So we'll type in our name as an example, and we'll click on the name that pops up. If there are several users that we want to add at once, we can add commas in between each user to find them. Once that's done, we can scroll to the bottom and click Save. And now those users will have access to view all of the submissions for this web form, provided that they have the form viewer role first. And that's all we need to know about the form settings. In the next video, we'll learn about the Results tab.